Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another episode of the Backyard SportsCenter podcast. I am your host, Natastic28, coming to you again with another episode. Today, I am joined by Alex of the Backyard Baseball Online League to preview the World Series. How are you doing tonight, Alex?
I am feeling fantastic because right before we recorded this, we just had the RBBL draft kickoff, as it were, where we all found out what order we're choosing in the drafts and we're figuring out what league, division, and fields we're getting. And I'm feeling pretty good because I'm in two leagues. So if I don't get something in one league, there's a chance I'll have it in the other. So we're getting really excited for that. But that's not the topic at hand right now, of course.
Yeah, that was crazy. Everyone was in that Discord call. That was just amazing. And
it was crazy. More than 20 people, on average for an hour. It was incredible, the turnout that was.
That was a lot of fun, just for watching a wheel spin over and over again.
Over and over and over.
Yeah, but the reason we're here is to preview the World Series and recap the championship series for the backyard and the front yard. So just pulling up the playoff bracket, and we just finished up the backyard finals, in which Hunt Stunt took a 2-0 series win over Loba and the Florida Marlins, both games winning with a score of 1-0. I don't know did you catch these games?
I was able to catch the first game, bits of the first game, I believe, but I did hear it was quite the pitching duel, as it were. Diana Hayes and Amanda Hellerman, both fantastic pitchers. But Hellerman really got under Loba's skin in game one, getting 11 strikeouts in that game. That was some big stuff coming from the recently awarded Mr. Clanky Award winner for the Backyard League. She changes you. This is fact. I thought I knew what I was doing playing in this online league, and then I had to face Amanda Hellerman, and I questioned everything immediately afterwards. If that doesn't tell you, got that right hook that goes from one side of the screen to the next. It's incredible.
Yeah, Amanda Hellerman is a beast. That's, for those of you that don't know, that is the Randy Johnson clone. So if you know how good Randy Johnson is, it's the exact same thing, just a different animation.
Yes, everyone was we were kind of expecting Loba to repeat, because Loba was making quite the run for the playoffs. Loba won the season 1 championship last year, and so he only had a 7-4 regular season, but once he got into the playoffs, those bats just went flying. You saw the playing game he had with I believe it was it Arco Thunder? Yes, it was Arco Thunder, and the score would have been 10-0 had Arco Thunder not come back in the bottom half of the 6th inning, but those bats came off flying. So even Terry Vega got 2 home runs in that game, which is crazy because Terry Vega has only got 3 hits the entirety of the regular season. But of course, Loba eventually had to face Hunt Stunt, and of course we all know what that does. Hunt Stunt, by the way, hasn't even scored 10 runs this postseason. He's got some low scoring games, and his defense and his pitching has really carried him throughout this postseason.
Yeah, for sure. That series was just crazy. Hellerman and Diana Hayes were just throwing strikeout after strikeout after strikeout. That first game, though, Hellerman's stat line was something that's never been seen before as far as the online league goes. 5 walks and 12 strikeouts. That's something that we probably will never see again.
How many times is 11 the most strikeouts someone's had in the games thus far this season?
I don't know if it's the most that they've had in the season, but I think we've had that before.
In a single game specifically.
But I do not know exactly off the top of my head what the exact number is.
Oh, no. Actually, no. She had 12 in the semis in one game. I'm just pulling up the stat line now. The semis when they played, give me a second. When they played the Wombats in game 1, she had 12. That's what it says here on their team page. But yeah, 12 strikeouts in the semis game 1, 10 strikeouts in the semis game 2, 11 strikeouts in the semis game 1, 13 strikeouts in game 2. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
My gosh. Just a record, that's 46 strikeouts in the regular season. No, in the postseason. Adding on to the 94 strikeouts in the regular season, that is 140 strikeouts overall. That is some dominant stuff right there.
Yeah, Hellerman is just out of this world when it comes to pitching.
Right, but who's been doing the offensive work for the Mariners? That's my question.
In game 1, it was Kay O'Toole hitting a leadoff home run for the only offense that they had. And then in game 2, it was a final in 10 or 11 innings. Don't remember exactly off the top of my head. And it was just barely scratching home a run, just slowly eating away at the stamina of the Marlins until their defense had to maneuver into positions that they didn't want to be in. And then they just slowly got runners on, and then were able to scratch across the run. And then Lobo was in the bottom of the order, and unlucky for him, if he would have got one more person on base, then Chico would have been up. Diana Hayes, I think, got out to end the game.
And again, I'm thinking, like, even if Chico Papa did get up, Hellerman might have been smart enough to walk him in that situation, because she intentionally walked him a couple times in the series, if I'm not mistaken.
Especially in game 1, I think there was like 3 intentional walks.
Oy.
Yeah, 3 intentional walks from Chico, and that's giving you the Barry Bonds treatment.
Practically, yeah. The Aaron Judge treatment as well, I guess. Did they do that to Aaron Judge? I really didn't pay that much attention. I would only assume with how dominant that guy was this year.
I did not follow too much about how Aaron Judge did to be able to confirm or deny that. But I would not be surprised if that actually happened. If he keeps this up for a couple more seasons, people are going to start doing it, though, for sure.
This is very true.
Yeah, so the Mariners and Huntston are moving on to the championship, winning the backyard finals, the front yard finals, which was between Mattitude coaching the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Baltimore Orioles of Killer Bat won that series 2-0 as well. But in this series, there was a lot more offense. The Orioles won game 1, 3-1, and then in game 2, the Orioles just put the hammer down and won 7-2.
Yeah, Mattitude had a really good postseason coming into this. He had a really good postseason coming into this finals. He won the play-in game against Chris Blanco and the Fishes really well. He got, I believe, Vladdy Guerrero had a homer, and he also had a triple as well. That Guerrero could probably be the MVP for that game easily. Then while I go to the actual playoff bracket. Then he ended up playing the number 1 seed, Killer Bat's brother, Willigan, in the front yard semis, and he did not allow a single run that entire series. He won the first game 5-0, and then he won the second game 1-0. So, like, everyone was like, whoa, that's crazy. So Mattitude just shocking everyone, being the 5th seed and going on to the finals. Killer Bat, mind you, aside from Hunt Stunt, was both finals, had the 5th seed and the 2nd seed in their finals. In both semis, the number 1 seed ended up getting swept. First, Loba swept Hines of the Pirates, and then, of course, Matt swept the Rangers. And Matt had a really, really good team. A team with a bunch more recognizable names than those of the Baltimore Orioles. He picked a lot. He picked 7 out of his 9 players were players that are already playable characters in the game. You have Griffey, Larkin, Burnitz, Guerrero, Dobbs, Giambi, and of course his starting pitcher, Kenny Kawaguchi, who was absolutely dominant in those semis, but just couldn't quite get the same dominance in the finals against Killer Bat.
Yeah, as Mattitude had an amazing season, Kenny Kawaguchi just pitched out of his mind. That slow ball and that stamina just were fooling everyone, for sure. I've never seen it. I think Kenny actually pitched a no-hitter, a perfect game this season as well.
Really? I didn't catch that. I need to pay more attention to this league. I'm in this league, and oh gosh, I feel so bad.
There's so much like that you can pay attention to or not pay attention to. It's kind of crazy.
This is true.
Yeah, the upset of Willigan really, really surprised me. I don't know if or what actually happened. I know when I was watching the first game, it kind of looked like Willigan might not have been 100% there. Some of the pitches that he was throwing weren't as like, they're kind of like more, I wouldn't say they're necessarily like meatballs, but they weren't like the specifically corner pitches or like that you're trying to like pitch as like accurately as you possibly can, which is different than how he normally plays. So when I was watching, I was like, okay, something's going on here that's not the norm. I don't know what exactly happened. Maybe we'll never know what happened. But I know Griffey hit a couple home runs and Kenny Kawaguchi just shut him out. And that was that.
Yeah, Griffey playing like exceptionally well in the postseason. He had 2 home runs in one game. He actually had 3 home runs the entire semis, 2 of them coming in game 1, the other one coming in game 2. They had an extra home run in game 1 to really let Killer Bat know that, hey, I'm not giving up without a fight in this series. But of course, we all know that Killer Bat was able to be like, okay, you want to fight? I'll give it to you. And absolutely just wiped the floor with him in that second game.
Yeah, in game 1, we had Jane Davis and Pablo both hit home runs for the Orioles, and then Griffey, like you mentioned, hit that other one. And then in game 2, there was a lot of home runs. Jane hit one, Gary Allen hit one, Cheryl hit one.
Those all came in the same inning, top of the 4th. They were just going dinger after dinger after dinger.
It was, yeah, like you said, just one after the other. It was an offensive master class for sure by Killer Bat.
Yeah, Killer Bat. Yeah, Killer Bat, for those who don't know, he was one of the, when the backyard online servers were originally up 20-some years ago in the early 2000s, he was one of the better players back then. I believe he peaked at number 3 on the leaderboards back in the day, and now he has a chance to be number 1 after all these years. He drafted Pablo Sanchez first round, and then he drafted, I believe, both Kahn brothers immediately afterwards. He practically won that draft, in my opinion, even though he drafted players like Cindy Chang and Ruth Proud, who are more defensive and less on the offensive side. But regardless, he had great seasons with all those guys, but he figured that wasn't enough. So he traded both Kahn brothers and Mandy Coolidge for Cheryl Reynolds, Jane Davis, and Bobby Bullgreen, who all have done exceptionally well in and of their own right. So even without the Khan brothers, he's been at the Khan buff, mind you. Amir Khan playing better because Ahmed is on his team. Even without that, he's still been playing top notch.
Yeah, Jane Davis offensively has been amazing. Defensively, been a little bit questionable.
It's been a little bit of a roller coaster, as it were. Jane Davis, she can hit, and she can hit well. But for the first couple of games in the semis against Freak Show, she was showing a little bit of struggle out there on offense. They had her at first base, and she could not catch the ground balls throws for the life of her. Eventually, Killer Bat put her in right field, and it seems to be working now at the very least, or somewhere in the outfield at the very least. And that seems to be working a lot better for the Orioles defensively. But yeah, for the first couple of games, it was starting to look like Killer Bat was gonna choke the semis to Freak Show, who, by the way, won Coach of the Year. Freak Show, if you're listening right now, real MVP. Congratulations. Co-Coach of the Year, excuse me. The other one being Hunt. Regardless, that was a really fun series to watch. That was the only series that went to 3 games. And that was a really fun series to watch go down, because like when it all came down to it at the very end, it was a tie ball game in the bottom of the 5th inning in game 3. And Jane Davis, who had so many errors in this series, came out to bat and absolutely crushed one over the head of Marcellus Marks in right field, over the fence, gave Killer Bat the lead, and eventually the series win for the Orioles. This is some storybook stuff for Killer Bat in this 20-year-old video game that he holds so dear to his heart right now.
Yeah, like you said, Killer Bat has, been playing this game for, his 20 years, and also he's been doing all he can to try to, tell everyone about that the servers are back.
Mm-hmm.
He's been pushing it as hard as he can, which we really appreciate, just trying to get the word out that these leagues and that the online servers are back in service.
No, yeah, that is some good stuff. It's always good to network like that.
Yeah, Killer Bat is definitely on the marketing team for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that was the summary of both of the backyard finals and the front yard finals. Now moving forward, we have the championship that's just between Coach Huntstunt and the Mariners and the Orioles and Coach Killer Bat. You could say that this is the series between the Killer Bats and the Killer Aces.
No, this is a strictly best offense in the league versus best defense in the league. When they come together, you really don't know what's going to happen here. Of course, defense wins championships, and Huntstunt has plenty of that. Larry Walker, of course, winning the Gold Glove in the Backyard League. But Killer Bat has the Silver Slugger winner in Pablo Sanchez. And like for those who are unaware, Pablo Sanchez is not the first pick of the draft. He wasn't the first pick of the draft this season, and he's really overlooked. Everyone thinks a little overrated because he's got one height. He's just one of the shortest players in the game, and his defense isn't necessarily the best, and his speed is a little bit nerfed from the original backyard baseball game. But Killer Bat, of course, being the backyard baseball purist as he was, picked Pablo first, immediately let everyone know that Pablo is not going to forget being picked, I believe, 7th overall in the draft. I don't remember what, but it was definitely later into that first round. He says he's not going to forget being picked this late, and he sure showed everyone this season with, if I can go to his stats, I really need to keep like tabs of this stuff. I'm just going back and forth in the same tab. 10 home runs, 17 RBIs, a slugging percentage of 1.625, an average of 625, 52 total bases, and 18 runs scored. He's just proving us all that Pablo Sanchez is to go through a reason, basically. But that's just Pablo Sanchez. We also have Reynolds, Davis, Thomas on a good day, Bobby Bullgreen on a good day. That is all who's on the offense for the Orioles. And of course, Huntstunt over here with Larry Walker, Amanda Hellerman, Alicia Blakely, Kay O'Toole, those big names over there. And he's got a bunch of people with 6 and 7 speed. No one on his team is slower than 5 speed. Everyone is 5 speed or up. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players with 6 speed, 2 players with 7 speed, and 2 players with 5 speed. So this is not only a good defensive team, but it's also a pretty fast team as well. Killer Bat, on the other hand, he's got a couple of players in the 4-speed area. He's got 3 players in the 4-speed area, but he has 1, 2, 3, 4 players with 7 speed, 1 player with 5 speed, and 1 player with 6 speed. So he has more players that are fast, but overall, Huntstunt has the edge overall with speed, I would say, because he doesn't have anything slower than 5. This is hard. This is genuinely hard for me to say. I don't know who my pick would be if I were to predict who's going to win this game. I think it's going to 3 games. I'm going to put my foot down and say it's going to 3 games.
I could see this series going both ways. On the Orioles side, I could see them, kind of doing what they've been doing this entire season and just hitting a ton of home runs like they have been doing and winning that way. I could also see on the Mariners side winning with their pitching and defense, or I could also see, because the Orioles' defense is a liability, and it's not one of the best defenses because a lot of their players are one-dimensional as far as their, big power, and they don't necessarily do much other than that. I could see the Mariners using their speed and trying to do ground ball, line drive hits, just trying to get through those holes, and then using their speed to string together hits and score a bunch of runs that way. Tire out that defense. Stamina's not the strong suit of the Orioles as well. So I could see it going both ways.
It is very true. I think what it comes down to is how well is Killer Bat going to hit against Amanda Hellerman on the mound. Because, this guy's definitely faced Randy Johnson millions of times, back in the heyday, so It's probably been a while, but as you know, he played at Tin Can Alley for the first time in 20 years a couple weeks ago. So like some of this stuff is coming back to him. But I think what it comes down to is how well is Killer Bat going to hit against this Randy Johnson clone, and if he can't, will the Mariners be able to follow the pitching up with good offense as well?
Yeah, selfishly, I hope it goes to 3 games because that would just the kind of like the matchup of play styles is just really intriguing and fitting for the championship.
Absolutely.
So hopefully, we get some good games and hopefully the best team will end up winning.
Absolutely. We're looking at right now it's January 22nd as we are recording this. The championship is supposed to take place anytime from now until the end of the month, January 31st. So by the time this comes out, we might already have a winner. Who knows? It's 3 games, and the game takes an hour apiece. So who knows what'll happen? Who knows when it'll happen?
I don't know. Hopefully, I'll be able to have this recorded before Game 1 starts. But Game 1 is supposedly supposed to be on Friday, the 27th at about 9:30, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right, sick. So I'll definitely be home from Iowa by then to catch it.
So that is when Game 1 is scheduled to be played, as that is based on information that I received earlier today from Killer Bat. So hopefully that's going to be when Game 1 is, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get Shine Bloom to commentate one or two of these games. That's what we're hoping for.
I would love that.
For those of you that don't know, Shine Bloom is professional play-by-play commentator for a variety of different sports, and he's been, for the past several months, on Wednesdays, he's been doing his own stream with the Melonheads, and
he's about to win the World Series. He's got a 2-0 lead against the quote-unquote Diamondbacks and Randy Johnson. And he's having us poll, see if they can beat the spread or something like that. So last time the spread was 7.5 runs, and Nate over here thought it would be a great idea. I don't know if you're in charge of the Backyard SportsCenter Twitch or not. I think you are, but he was the only one that voted against the spread. And of course, Shine Bloom made very well fool of that pick. I think he won by 8 or 10 or something like that.
I can tell you that was not me.
It wasn't?
No, that was not me.
Oh boy.
I'll let you keep thinking about who it was, but
dang. Oh, who could it be? Oh man.
I can guarantee it was not me.
All right. I trust you on that.
Yeah. I bet all my Clanky coins that it was not me.
Perfect. Perfect joke. For those of you who don't know what Shine Bloom sounds like, a mix between Ernie Johnson and Kevin Harlan. So he probably went to school for this stuff. He's really good.
Yeah, and what's even better is that he's just so engaging at the community. He's just an awesome person, which makes it even 100% better.
No, it's fantastic. It is really cool to see what he's doing in our community and with his own stuff. It's really, really cool. So yeah, hoping to get him for one of these games. It'd be really cool.
If I had to make a prediction right now, I would say Orioles in 3. If I had to put my foot down, that's what I would pick.
That's what I'm saying. Orioles in 3. I want it to be Orioles in 3, but also it'd be cool either way. It really would be cool either way because Hunt's done some amazing things. Killer Bat's the great comeback story, as it were. It could go either way, as you said, but we will see come this Friday.
Both coaches have had amazing seasons, and hopefully they'll come back for next season as well. And it will just be amazing to watch these 2 or 3 games, and may the best coach and team win.
Absolutely.
So I think that's gonna sum it up for this episode. Unless you have anything else you want to talk about, Alex.
Well, nothing's on my mind right now, but I think this is a good point to wrap it up, I guess.
I know you have some other things that so if people want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Well, DM me on Discord. If you know me on Discord, if you're in a server and if you dare so wanted to have a little chat, you can find me on Discord. I don't have Twitter. I don't have anything like that. I just kind of thrive on Discord, as it were. I mean, I am on Instagram, but like that's my personal account. So,
well, Alex, thank you for hopping on. Glad to have you be a guest on the podcast. Hopefully, at some point we can, have you on again. And I know you had an amazing season yourself. You almost made the playoffs. I know you mentioned that story about how you were in your last game and you had some.
Yes. Oh, I should probably go ahead and tell this story before we wrap it up, because I don't think everyone knows this story. So I was in charge of my hometown Kansas City Royals, as it were. We had a relatively good season. I had the first pick in the draft, so I had Julie Dunkel and Debbie Nagasawa, Parker Collum. Those would be like my top 3 players. But then I also had I didn't really have a regular player on there, so I just went with Marky Dubois because I was like, hey, I know who that is. It's someone. It's the best person who hasn't been picked yet. Might as well pick him. And he ended up putting up some really good pitching numbers for me. But then on the very last game with huge playoff implications, it was me and Personizzle, and it was a tight ball game here and there. Marky was losing some juice, and Zena Fromm was at bat, and I had just given up a couple of runs, and in a pit of a mix of frustration and also I just can't do this anymore. I give up. What is the point of this anymore? I just hucked a slow ball down the middle, and Zena Fromm, being Zena Fromm, crushes it over the left field plate round fence. If it weren't for that, I would have won that game, because Horace Young came up in the bottom half of the 6th inning and crushed a 3-run home run to put me within two runs. Let this be a lesson to anyone who's playing in these leagues and like that, or just in life in general, whatever you may do. Never, ever give up. No matter how impossible it may seem, never give up. But also don't do dumb things like I did, and don't do dumb things like the Dallas Cowboys did earlier today, all right? Don't just throw the ball in the middle of the field and just be like, let's just see what happens before you get flattened by a 49er lineman, okay? Just go ahead and give it your best shot. Thank you. That is all I will say. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
I love that. Don't know what the receiver was, but I absolutely loved seeing that both Elliott got flattened and whoever caught the ball got flattened too. I was just laughing.
That was so sad. I was like, come on, you have 6 seconds. You could pitch it off to someone on the 40-yard line and then go for the Hail Mary. But I don't know. Cowboys do what Cowboys do in the playoffs, I guess.
Yeah, the Cowboys are just, I don't know. Stephen A. Smith is going to have a great time with that.
Oh, he's going to have a field day. He's just laughing, smoking a cigarette. How about them Cowboys? Classic Stephen A. Smith comedy right there.
Yeah, that's gonna be on television tomorrow.
This is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, but enough about the Cowboys. Since you brought up that story, got one more question that I just thought of. How is your overall thoughts and opinions about this season from your perspective and your team and your draft?
Oh, I had an absolute blast. Overall, I genuinely loved playing. No matter the circumstances. It was my first year. I literally joined the league, and a month later, signups for season 2 started. So I joined the online server, and a month later, season 2 signups came in. So I was like, hey, that'll give me something to do. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, let's just give this a whirl, I've never seen this side of this video game that I played when I was 6 or 7, and made me love the game of baseball. If it wasn't for this game, I wouldn't have baseball would not be my favorite sport. This game is the reason why I have 2 regional championships in high school and stuff like that. That stuff is my love of baseball strictly comes from this video game. I really do think so. And to play it at a different angle, because I've never was around when the online servers were back in the day. So like to see that happen, to play a completely new side of the game and like to play against other people who have the same love for the game as I do, it was really, really fun. I wish it would have ended differently, of course, if I were to go back. But obviously, it is what it is. You learn your lessons. Even if it's with a 20-year-old children's sports video game, it's not the ideal way to learn your lesson, but you learn it nonetheless. So really happy with my team, really happy with, hey, I ended up over 500. So like that's a win in my book. That's definitely a win in my book. But yeah, looking forward to season 3.
Yeah, in the last episode, I had DOW on, and we, like the first, 15, 20 minutes of like the podcast, we were just going over like what this game meant to us back, 20 years ago, and all like the little connections and everything, and how it all came full circle to how we are doing this right now.
Yep. I remember I was a really big fan of Freddy Fish back in the day, and I got the demo of the Backyard Baseball, and I was like, I want to play that game. So I went to the Brownsburg Public Library in Brownsburg, Indiana. I don't live there, so I can say where it is. And it was I went there, took it out and I played the game for 21 days. And I remember it was 21 days because like normally with like a VHS tape, you could only borrow it for 7 days. But with a computer game, you could borrow it for 21 days, which was mind-boggling to me. So I played it absolutely like nonstop almost. It was incredible. And then I started swinging the bat out in the backyard, and then my dad would start pitching to me, and then it went from swinging in the backyard to swinging in rec league to swinging in high school, to eventually swinging in the state championships my junior year. That was really fun stuff.
Yeah, we weren't even like planning to go down that rabbit hole, but it turned out to be an excellent, wonderful conversation that we had.
Well, I'm sure it was, yeah.
Look forward to that. That should be posted by the time this is out there. So if you haven't listened to that one, when you're listening to this one, make sure you check that out.
I will definitely make sure to listen to that one. I cannot wait to hear your story as well as DL's.
It was a fun time just going back down memory lane, and there's just like so much like intricacies and like looking back at your life that you don't realize like, okay, this impacted these 5 other things, and it all stemmed from just like these games, and now we're here 25 years later.
No, it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Some of the connections like
means we're old.
Yeah. Well, duh. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. All my friends are like adults now. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that's gonna do it for us before we ended up going even crazier than we already are.
Yeah. Good stopping point this is.
Yeah, thanks again, Alex, for hopping on, and we'll see you guys in the Discord and hopefully on the stream of the Game 1 of the World Series on Friday. So until whenever that time is, see you guys later.